Hey, what's up, guys? Eli Fishman here with Talkin Ball Interviews, back another interview, and today I'm with Simeon Woods-Richardson, one of the top prospects for the Toronto Blue Jays. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me, man.
Thank you so much for joining me. Drafted a few years ago with the Mets, coming over to the Blue Jays now, and it's your first spring training with the Toronto Blue Jays. How's camp been with the Jays so far, and how you liking the Blue Jays organization overall?
The feeling is amazing, Like, you go in the locker room, everybody has great team chemistry. You go in the locker room, you're just smiling, having a good time. Spring training's been actually really fun. I've learned so much in just so much little time, Like, I've learned so much just with videos and guys, people picking their brains and stuff, and it's cool to see. It's cool to watch people, like, approach the game differently. You pick their minds and say, why'd you do this? Why'd you do that? And they tell you why. You're like, I never thought of that.
Now, you seem like a seasoned veteran. You've had a few years in pro ball under your belt, been traded around, but you're only 19.
Yeah.
You were drafted at 17, which not a lot of people can say from America.
Exactly.
So that being said, do you feel you have a little chip on your shoulder as one of the younger guys in, you were in high A last year, where I think the average age is probably 22, 23 years old, and you were there at 18, right?
Yeah. I mean, I always play a little chip on my shoulder. That's just how I play. But being around older guys, I've always done that all my life. Like, I've always played, 2 years older than me. I've always had, some of my best friends are 2 or 3 years older than me. So I've always grew up with older people. So being the little big brother has always been my role.
Now, one of the biggest trades this past season at the deadline was obviously the Stroman trade.
Yeah.
You and Kay coming to the Blue Jays
My guy.
for Stroman. Being part of such a blockbuster trade, obviously, Ken Rosenthal, everybody's tweeting about it. Your name's on MLB Network and just about everywhere. How cool was that trade? Just talk to me about how it went down in general. Where'd you hear, how all that?
The trade was like a blessing in disguise, Like, the first 5 seconds, first 10 seconds, you're in a whirlwind. You're like, what's going on? I don't know what's going on. Like, what am I supposed to do? Where am I supposed to go? And then once everything settles down, you figure out the Toronto Blue Jays were going to pick me before the Mets did. Supposedly they're going to pick me before the Mets did. That's what I've heard. And when I've heard that, and then when I get traded to them, it was like, I'm supposed to be home all along, So I feel right at home.
Now, what's the process of going through a trade like that? Because obviously you have to come over to Dunedin, then there's the planes, and then the physicals, and then all of that.
For a good 7 days, I was in a whirlwind. Just figure out where I was going, try to meet the team. And when I met the team in Fort Myers, I had to come back to Dunedin because I had to get more physicals and stuff done. So I stayed in Dunedin while the other team while they were playing, and while they were playing in Fort Myers, I had to meet them back at home. So I was in Dunedin by myself, my parents, for a good 3 to 4 days, just chilling. But it's a whirlwind though. Like, I didn't even know. Like, a random news reporter texted me on Instagram.
Really?
Yeah. That's what started. That's why I was in a whirlwind, because we're driving. I'm headed to Port St. Lucie. I got caught up with the Mets. I'm headed to Port St. Lucie to make a start. And on the way there, I'm driving my mom and dad. And a Mets reporter texts me. And he's like, hey, your name's been in the trade. Can you confirm? And I was like, this is the first time I'm hearing about this.
Was it Tacoma?
No, it was like New York's Mets source, something like that.
Okay.
And they text me, and that's how it all started.
Jeez.
Yeah, and we had to turn back around and just headed to Dunedin.
Talking about yourself on the mound, you're one of the top-ranked prospects in MLB. Talking about your mental approach to pitching, just give me a scouting report on yourself.
Scouting report on myself: high-tempo guy, very aggressive, likes to pound the strike zone. Is not afraid to throw anything.
When you hop on the bump and see a batter step in the batter's box, what are you thinking every time you put your foot on the rubber and start at bat?
He's mine. It's time to go to work. I have my game plan. Now it's time to go to work.
You've been ranked both the number 2 and the number 3 prospect. Do you see that as some pressure? And do you read the articles and look at the prospect rankings and all that?
I mean, it's nice to look at all that. It's nice to see that you get recognition and you're doing stuff. But stats are stats. Stats don't lie. So if I put up stats and they're consistent, I'm consistent, and I win ball games, I'll put up zeros, and we'll have a pretty good year.
Between the Mets and the Blue Jays, has there been one, big difference, or maybe something that they preach differently, or a different way that they go about their game?
Exactly. What really clicked for me when I got to the Blue Jays was Cy. He told me, he was like, just put zeros on the scoreboard. And he was like, no matter what happens in the inning, put zeros on the scoreboard. And that kind of like, I was trying to strike every guy out. I was trying to do everything pitch perfect. I was trying to do everything where I know I was just trying to overpressure everything. And once he told me that, it was like my ERA started going lower and lower and lower, and that's what clicked.
What's been your favorite part of professional baseball in general?
Playing with the guys, man. Playing with the guys. I have some of my best friends are on different teams. It's playing with guys and, of course, winning.
If you were to be MLB commissioner for one day, would you change the game at all? Would you do anything?
I would have literally a week of throwback jerseys.
Love that.
Yeah.
I love that. And the Players Weekend thing. The
Yeah.
throwback jerseys and the Players Weekend things
would-
are my two favorites.
Yeah, I would have a week long of just throwback exotic jerseys.
What are some goals for you, short term, long term? You know, obviously, 19, you're probably going to start the year. Do you think you're going to be in high A, double A to start the year? Do they even give you an idea, or is it just that report that go out date? They just say, here's your city, get there. How does that work?
It honestly just depends on you. I mean, they have a plan for you, but you can definitely make an impact in that plan during spring training. You understand?
Yeah.
And like, you can definitely make an impact. So my goal is to break with the AA team. That's my goal, to break with the AA short term. So putting the work in spring training, get everything ready, live at bats, spring training games. I'm getting ready for AA. Like, that's what I really want.
Thank you so much
You're
for
welcome.
coming on today. Much appreciated.
Of course.
Very nice to meet you, and best of luck to you
Thank
in the
you.
future.
Thank you.